Welcome to a visual hymn note. I'm Rebecca Abbott. I help people connect to their musical heritage through exploring music and text. Today is the second part of SCHMUECKE DICH, sometimes translated as Soul, Adorn Yourself with Gladness. I'll be using the version found in the 2006 Lutheran service book at number 636. Last time we focused on the text. This time we'll focus on the music, from basic structure to a closer examination of the lines. Okay, if we assign a letter of the alphabet to each musical section, then the basic structure is AABBC, with a little tail that I'm calling sort of A. You can hear each section as I play it and call out the appropriate letter. If we have 8 lines of text, though, and only 5 sections, plus the tail, that means that a couple of the sections have to get more than 1 line. So in this first playthrough, you can think about how many lines each section is getting and why that may be. A. Soul, adorn yourself with gladness, leave the gloomy haunts of sadness. A. Come into the daylight splendor, fair with joy your praises render. B. Bless the one whose grace unbounded. B. This amazing banquet founded. C. He, though heav'nly, high and holy, sort of A. Deigns to dwell with you most lowly. All right, which section got more than 1 line? A section. We talked last time about how we feel more confident that the prayer of the last 4 stanzas will become reality because in that pivotal 4th stanza, we would have just experienced the directions of the first 3 stanzas becoming reality. Another unconscious confidence builder is the repetition of those first 2 lines, the A section, immediately followed by A section. In order to discern how and why B is different, let's take a closer look at the shape of those 2 A lines. First line starts on the 3rd note or mediant of the major scale. The solfege syllable, mi. It's very gentle, moving by step, with only 1 slight skip of a 3rd. Mi, re, do, re, mi, so, fa, mi. Ending the line on mi instead of on do implies that this is not quite a complete thought, that it needs a little partner to answer it. So we get the next line. So, mi, fa, mi, re, do, mi, re, do. We end on the 1st note of the major scale, the tonic, represented by the solfege syllable, do. That feels complete, like we now have 1 thought expressed in 2 lines. When we add the text of the 1st stanza, we can recall how the paired rhymes match this melodic pattern beautifully, how the 2nd line always completes the 1st. Soul, adorn yourself with gladness, leave the gloomy haunts of sadness. The 2nd line extends the thoughts of the 1st line, moving from a stationary action, adorn, to a change of location action, leave. as I sing the next two lines in which the A section repeats, would you think about how the fourth line extends the thoughts of the third line? Come into the daylight splendor, there with joy your praises render. Okay, so we adorn and leave in order to come to this new place, and the fourth line answers the implied question, now what? It tells us what we do in that new place. If the A section were to be presented a third time, we might agree that it was not so much confidence building as tedious. So the B section bursts on the scene. Instead of beginning again on the mediant, it begins on the dominant. So a strong clue that we will be doing something different now. The line begins to climb immediately. It still is mostly stepwise, but it leaps up a third toward the beginning rather than the end of the line. Listen for the sense of excitement in the rising line. Sol, la, do, ti, sol, la, sol. Now, listen to how that excitement fits with the words. Bless the one whose grace unbounded. It's a short burst, an exclamation that is instantly repeated. This amazing banquet founded. For those of you who do physical workouts, you may have noticed a similarity of structure here. It is perfectly valid to compare the A sections to a warm-up, then the B sections to the more strenuous part of the workout. Most people do actually have to breathe a little more deeply for the B section because of its climb and intensity. Listen also to how the melodic intensity is matched by the harmonic intensity. We borrow a chord from another key, as though the passion were spilling over and one key were simply not enough. Those chords appear on the fourth and seventh syllables of each B line. I'm not going to spell this out here, but after I play those two lines for you, let's take a few moments of silence to think about how the music here may complement the text. Praise the one whose grace unbounded, this amazing banquet founded. Supporting the comparison of this song structure to a workout, did you notice what happened to the rhythm? Each line of the A section begins and ends with two long notes. I'll hold up two fingers for each of the long notes, the half notes, and one finger for each of the shorter middle notes, the quarter and eighth notes. Soul, adorn yourself with gladness, leave the gloomy haunts of sadness. This begins to feel predictable. But when we get to the B section, bless the one whose grace unbounded. There's a new pattern, very exciting. Even if we don't begin with two long notes, we do still end with two long notes, but the harmonic rhythm jumps in and changes chords on us in the first of the two long notes. It says in effect, "Oh, we are not settling down. You are not home yet." I will play both B lines and you focus on how that feels to have a chord jump underneath you on the second to last note. each time. Bless the one whose grace unbounded this amazing banquet founded. Now comes the really mental part of the workout, where you have to tell yourself to hang in there. It's going to get really crazy, but then you're almost home. Listen to all the borrowed chords in the C section. He for heav'nly, high and holy. I asked Tom Ryan, a theory professor at Capital University in Columbus, Ohio, how he would analyze this section. He assured me that we basically jump into a whole other key at this point, the minor supertonic. Let us not mess with that right now. The video is going long enough. But let's just note that intellectually, this is the most challenging part of the piece. Although the notes have dropped in their range, so it is more intellectually than physically challenging. I think the key change is a way of emphasizing the seventh line in a more subtle way than the stark excitement of the fifth and sixth lines. You cannot keep an adrenaline high forever. The C section seems to say that after the high, here's the point of the piece, the conclusion of each stanza. So we come to the cool down, that sort of A at the end of the stanza. We start on the mediant again. Mi. We flip lightly up to the dominant. So, like a little souvenir of everything that has come before. And then we settle into a mostly descending line that takes us home. Mi, sol, fa, mi, re, do, re, do. Deigns to dwell with you most holy. Let's just play it through. I'm going to play the first and eighth stanzas with that pivotal fourth stanza between, possibly a little more slowly than I would do for a congregation. Feel free to sing along. So adorn yourself with gladness, leave the gloomy haunts of sadness, come into the daylight splendor, I'm Dr. Rebecca Abbott. This has been a visual hymn note. Thank you for watching. Never stop singing.